Hey folks, I'm here with another weekly check-in. I know it's been a while, but I want to make sure that I get back into the swing of these now that things have sort of calmed down a little bit. And so we're going to go over our content for this week, what's on our schedule, and then I'm also going to talk a bit about the final project, final exam, and extra credit opportunities. So if that is been on any of your minds, then definitely watch the entirety of this video. I'm really just going to be kind of catching us up and making sure that we're all on the same place before we head into these final couple weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. So in our course info, we will see we have got the final project going on for this week. That should be the only thing that we're working on. Um, yeah, that's the only thing that we're working on for this week. It will be due at the end of this week, but again, there is nothing else due. It's just the final project. Next week, we will be reviewing the study guide for our final exam, and I will talk with you about when it will open. I've got this little posted here for more information. Will be given during or at a later date during the semester, and this is that time. So I'll update this after this video is posted. So let's jump over to the final project real quick. This is not going to be a whole lot of me explaining about the project because I have a separate video for that in the projects folder. Just click right here, click on final project. This is about a 20-minute video of me going in depth about all of the project instructions and then our information here on more specifics. It might be helpful for you to follow along with these instructions as the video is playing, just so that you can kind of keep up with it and like make sure that you're understanding it as I'm going through each of the parts of it. And yeah, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I talk about it for a long time there and I don't want to waste your time, double talking about it. Um, After you've submitted your project, I do want to remind you, and I remind you in the video as well, please make sure that you read this little in bold area right here about how to submit your assignment. I have had people in the past before not upload their Google site like in the correct way. And if that does happen, if I can't view your site, I will, email you. I'll email your advisor. I'll call you. I'll try to get in touch with you however I can. And most of the time that does work, but I have had a few circumstances where, specifically in online classes, someone has submitted their project and I can't view it. And after trying to get in contact with them for like, a week straight and not being able to hear anything from them, at some point I have to just, put a grade into the grade book so that I can submit my grades. So if I can't see it, I can't grade your project and it'll just go in as a 0. But again, before that happens, I will make every attempt possible to contact you. But just try not to, have to need that. Just make sure you're following the instructions here. If you want to send the link to me through an email before this is due, just to make sure it works, we can do that as well. But as long as you're following the instructions here and when I go over them in the video as well, you should be fine. But just always want to kind of remind of that just so that there's no confusion or, upsetness later on when, it doesn't work properly. So final project. And then the last big thing is the final exam. So the final exam is going to be down here in this folder and click on final exam. I discussed this at the very beginning of the semester, but obviously it's been a while since then, so I want to kind of refresh y'all's memories. We have 2 parts to our final exam. They're each worth 5% of the total grade. Part A is going to be a comprehensive exam of the curriculum designs. And so that's not something that, we specifically have, seen before or necessarily studied for specifically up until this point. It will be the content we've gone over in the course, but as far as the questions, you haven't seen them before. While part B, this is just reused quiz questions. There's 25 of them, and there's not any questions in part B that you haven't seen previously. So, if you have been going over your quizzes like I've advised you to do, you should be in good shape for part B. For part A, I have this Jeopardy style study guide just for part A. If you use that and, study before you go in to take the exam, you should be fine on it. I never really have any issues with the final exams there. It's not, I personally feel the final project is a better reflection of your knowledge in this class than the final exam is, which is why one, we spend more time on it, and then two, it's weighted more heavily. So yeah, that's kind of my philosophy on this, but obviously we have to have some sort of formal final exam. That's just the way that it is, unfortunately. I, don't like it any more than you guys do. But we do have to have the final exam. So just make sure that you do take both of these. Um, and with that said, let's look at our calendar real quick. Um, so May 2nd, which is next Thursday, our exam will open at 4 p.m. And this is the schedule designed by Gaston. I don't design this schedule. It's just like for the online classes. Some are a little bit different, but ours specifically opens at 4 p.m. on Thursday, and then it closes on Tuesday the 7th, which is going to be, you'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And then Tuesday at 4 p.m., the exam will close. So you've got, any time in between there to take the exam online. I will advise you, you have two parts, and it's just like if you had two quizzes, essentially. You do not have to take both of these parts at the same time. So, for example, if you've got an hour on Friday after the exam opens and you want to take part A, you can do that. And then you can wait until, Tuesday before 5 o'clock and take part B if you'd like to. They don't have to be taken back to back. But if you start one, you definitely need to finish it. You can't open part A and answer 6 questions and then come back to it later. You've got to finish it all in one sitting. But as far as the parts go, you can split those up if you want to. And that's pretty much it for part A and B. Again, this will open Thursday, May 2nd at 4 p.m. and it will close on Tuesday, May 7th at 4 p.m. So just keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you keep that in mind, and you should be good to go. The last thing I want to remind you of, if you go to your course info below the schedule, go right here to the extra credit. Extra credit is due to me no later than May 3rd at 5 p.m. So if you want to do an extra credit opportunity, I have not had a lot of people take advantage of this semester. I usually have more people do it. And it's honestly, especially if your grade's sort of suffering, it's a disservice to yourself to not use the extra credit. It's, the instructions for it are right here. I won't go over it again because we've talked about it several times so far. You can use, up to 3 extra credit opportunities. They're each worth 2 points each. So if you did all 3 of the extra credit opportunities, you could get a maximum of 6 points extra credit, taking your grade from, for example, if you had an 84 in the class, it would bump it all the way to a 90. Now, with that said, this does involve you going to galleries and museums, art-based galleries and museums. So you don't want to wait until the last second to do this. And also, I would appreciate not waiting until the last second to do it. So I'm not grading, 100 extra credit opportunities on top of your final projects and on top of your final exams. But yeah, please take advantage of this. Try to get these in if you'd like to, if you are concerned about your grade. I've had a few emails, asking about extra credit, asking about how they can make things up or if they can make stuff up. Like I said, I don't do any makeup work or late work unless you have a formal excuse for documentation. But the extra credit is extremely beneficial. Going to just one extra credit opportunity is going to be more points added to your grade than if you miss an assignment, more than likely, unless it's like a project or something. So, just, missing one assignment or one discussion isn't going to drop your grade, more than 2%. But you can get 2% added back to your total grade. So, anyway, that's my only reminder for that. I will make sure to put this all in the announcement and in the email itself. If you would like to meet with me about your final project, would highly recommend doing that this week. I'm available on Zoom. I can make myself available to you however, I can. We can meet on Friday. We can meet anytime in my office hours or, after hours if we need to as well. As long as it's on Zoom, I can, I'll have my computer at home with me or wherever I'm at. So we can schedule a meeting, whatever works with your schedule. I would recommend though, if you're kind of concerned with the project or if you're a little uncertain about anything, I can help walk you through it. We can kind of get started on the beginning of it. So it makes it a lot easier for you moving forward. And again, I'm happy to do that, but let's try to get those scheduled, as soon as possible. If you feel like that might be something that would be beneficial for you, just send me a quick email after this video and just check to see what, the availability is. But yes, that is all for this week. If there's anything else I can do to help y'all or to assist you in any way with this kind of final winding down stuff, please let me know. through email, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I possibly can. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. I will see you next week for our next check-in.